or did they inherit their father's flair for the extraordinary? The world saw a glimpse of the Osbourne family's chaos on a 2000s reality show. But here's what they don't tell you about Ozzy's 6 kids. Each of Ozzy's offspring took a very different path, from stepping into the spotlight to disappearing from it entirely. Number 6, Elliot Kingsley. Was born in 1966 to Thelma Riley from a previous relationship. When Ozzy married Thelma in 1971, he adopted little Elliot as his own son. At the time, Ozzy was a rising rock star caught up in the excesses of fame. Being a new stepfather at just 22 years old, while touring with Black Sabbath, was not exactly a recipe for hands-on parenting. In fact, Ozzy has admitted he was a very selfish young man, full of drink and drugs, and I didn't know how to be a husband or a father in those early years. As a result, Elliot's upbringing was far from ordinary, but it was largely outside the public eye. Not much is publicly known about Elliot's life, and that's by design. While his younger half-siblings grew up under TV cameras, Elliot stayed completely off camera. He has no social media presence and has never sought the spotlight. Now in his late 50s, Elliot is reportedly a stage actor who has performed with the prestigious National Theatre in the UK. Imagine that. While his dad was infamous for biting the heads off bats on stage, Elliot was performing Shakespeare under the proscenium arch. It seems he found a passion for theater, living a creative life on his own terms. He's never cashed in on the Osbourne name or joined the family's reality TV antics, a deliberate choice to keep his privacy. Elliot's low profile is so extreme that when Ozzy's family released a statement about the rocker's death in 2025, Elliot's name was notably absent, likely out of respect for his wish to remain private. He grieved his father in private, away from the public tributes. To this day, Elliot Kingsley remains a mystery to even the most die-hard Ozzy fans. He grew up in the long shadow of a rock legend, but managed to live an ordinary life in extraordinary circumstances. Number 5, Jessica Starshine Osbourne, born January 20th, 1972, in England. Jessica was the first child born to Ozzy and Thelma Riley, arriving at a tumultuous time in Ozzy's life. In fact, Ozzy left England for an American tour just 6 months after Jessica's birth to record Black Sabbath's next album. That early absence set the tone for Jessica's childhood. Ozzy has openly acknowledged that he was not an ideal father in those years. He was often away on tour or struggling with addiction, and he later deeply regretted not being there for Jessica and her brother Louis. Growing up, Jessica rarely saw her father. In the 2011 documentary God Bless Ozzy Osbourne, Jessica admitted she didn't have many memories of Ozzy from childhood. She recalled that Ozzy would be gone for long stretches, and when he did come home, it took time to adjust, and then he'd vanish on tour again. It was a very erratic childhood with Dad, Jessica said, describing how normal life never stayed normal for long before Ozzy disappeared down the rock and roll rabbit hole. As a result, Jessica grew up largely separate from Ozzy's crazy world. When Ozzy and Thelma's marriage fell apart in 1982, young Jessica stayed in England with her mom. She was about 10 years old when her dad remarried to Sharon and started a new family in Los Angeles. Jessica never moved to LA with Ozzy. She stayed in the UK, and later in her own adult life, she quietly built a career behind the scenes in entertainment. Despite having a famous last name, Jessica eschewed the limelight. She didn't appear on the Osbournes reality show at all, not even for a cameo. So, what path did Jessica choose? It turns out she inherited some of the Osbourne creative genes. Jessica became an actress and theater professional, mostly working in theater and in TV film production. She has worked in wardrobe, makeup, and costuming for various productions, carving out a very different niche in showbiz than her rock star dad. But she's been on camera too. Jessica has a few acting credits to her name, including appearances on the TV series Better Call Saul, Manhattan, and The Messengers. You might have watched Better Call Saul and never realized the woman playing a minor character was Ozzy Osbourne's daughter. Clearly, Jessica pursued acting on her own merit, without exploiting her dad's fame. She's also been involved in local theater productions and even worked as an acting teacher and dialect coach, according to online profiles. In her personal life, Jessica became a mother and gave Ozzy 3 grandchildren, Isabel, Harry, and Kitty. That first call informing Ozzy he was a grandpa, the birth of Isabel in 2002, was a touching moment that even reality TV captured. It symbolized how life had come full circle. The once absent father was now overjoyed, if a bit startled, to become Grandpa Ozzy. Jessica has kept her family life private, but it's known that she continues to live in relative anonymity, reportedly in the US these days, while working in Hollywood's costume and wardrobe departments. When Ozzy passed away in 2025, Jessica grieved quietly. She posted a simple R.I.P. Ozzy tribute on her Instagram story, with a black and white image and the song Crazy Train playing, but otherwise kept her feelings off social media. It was true to form for Jessica, respectful, loving, but firmly off camera. Today, Jessica Osbourne is in her early 50s, leading a creative life on her own terms. She might not be famous, but she's proof that not every rock star's kid ends up a rebel on a reality show. Number 4. Louis John Osbourne. Born in 1975, Louis John Osbourne is Ozzy's second child, with Thelma Riley, and Ozzy's eldest son. If you've never heard of Louis, that's because, like his sister Jessica, he mostly stayed out of the spotlight. Louis was just a toddler when Ozzy's life was at peak chaos. By the late 70s, Ozzy was battling addiction and getting fired from Black Sabbath. Not surprisingly, Louis' relationship with his dad was distant during childhood. Ozzy later admitted he couldn't even remember when Jessica and Louis were born, due to his substance-fueled haze in the 70s. Those were regretful years for Ozzy as a father. It took many years, and sobriety, for Ozzy to try repairing those bonds. Louis grew up in England with his mom after Thelma and Ozzy divorced, and had a relatively normal upbringing away from fame. In adulthood, Louis found himself drawn to music as well. Not heavy metal, but the electronic beats of the UK club scene. He became a DJ and music producer, carving out a niche in Birmingham's nightlife. In 2009, Louis even founded his own record label, Media Recordings, focusing on electronic music releases. In that sense, he's carrying on the Osbourne musical legacy, albeit in a completely different genre from Dear Old Dad. Louis has also done event promotions and DJ gigs around the UK and Ireland. He kept his profile fairly low, but those in the UK club circuit might recognize the Osbourne name on a lineup and wonder, is that Ozzy's kid? Yes, and he's earning his own reputation in music. On the personal front, Louis has built a happy family life. He met his wife, Louise Lennon, in 2002 quite by chance. Fittingly, at an LA bar during Ozzy's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony celebration. The rock star's son and the aspiring Irish actress hit it off, and within months they were engaged. Louis and Louise married in 2003 in Ireland, and later settled in Birmingham, England, where Louis grew up. They have 2 children together, making Ozzy a grandfather through Louis as well. Interestingly, Ozzy couldn't attend Louis's wedding in 2003 because he was recovering from a near-fatal ATV accident at the time. Despite the absence, Louis expressed then that, "All I want is for him to get better," showing that under any strain, there was love. Thankfully, Ozzy did recover, and in later years, he and Louis stayed in touch. In interviews, Louis has spoken warmly of his famous family, emphasizing that he does keep in contact with his siblings and parents. Living across the pond, Louis said he tries to meet on special occasions when the Osbourne clan visits the UK. He shared that Ozzy would usually call on a Sunday afternoon for a catch-up, and when Ozzy was in England, Louis would bring his kids down to visit Grandpa. "Dad is great, very much a doting granddad," Louis noted of Ozzy in later years. It seems that as Ozzy mellowed with age and sobriety, he put more effort into being there for Louis and Jessica. By all accounts, Louis and Ozzy reconciled and developed a caring relationship once the wild years